There's been a starman waiting in the workshop, and he's been wanting to come and meet us. But his problem has always been time. Time on the workshop, that is. For you see, Wyley here is an older star explorer, but funny enough, his re-uploaded version released on September 1st of this year and was updated on the 5th, while the original Moon Man dropped on September 1st as well, but all the way back in 2017, while receiving his update just a few days later on the 4th. So Houston, we have ourselves one hell of a coincidence. But many thanks Lofi, Loaf, Link, and Code 4240 for your original work, and Lunel for the very recent re-upload, as Wyley here has always been one that I've had on my radar, as I love space stuff. So I'm happy to be blasting off within the day. Let's get to it. Or perhaps I should say, touching down. But whatever the case, he's a simple naut, all things considered. However, the modders knew who he was and what they wanted to do with him, so his simplicity is actually incredibly appreciated. Don't worry, we're gonna get to all that. For now though, note his below average hunger, which very well could do you in given his upcoming diet we'll talk about soon, his 200 sanity, and 150 health. As I said, all pretty straightforward, and there's actually nothing sanity related to a character for once in a blue frickin' moon, if you know what I mean. But yes, the space diet that followed him home. Wyley's been floating in the stars for so long that he not only refuses to take off his suit, the only way he can eat because of that is through literally blending everything and anything into a smoothie. And no, not kidding. He spawns with a very special blender that will allow for him to blend all foods, yes, even already made crockpot dishes, into a paste, and only then he can slurp them down. Don't fret though, blended versions of the food do indeed keep their same stats, but only if you mind how much you're actually blending at once. For example, if one were to blend 5 dragon pies one after the other, all 5 smoothies will be restoring the exact stats as a normal dragon pie dish would. But since all blended food stacks together, any additional non-dragon pie blended foods will add themselves to said original stack, and then all of a sudden, the stats will try to average themselves out. In short, beware of blending too much back to back to back if you're actually looking to make different smoothies with varied foods. Oh, and in the event you actually lose your one and only way to get your space munch on, another blender can be crafted under the food tab via gears, electrical doodads, and flints. But drink up. But here's where the fun begins. That spacesuit itself, and what wearing it will mean at the end of the day. For one thing, Wyley here has the effects of the desert goggles fish from the Oasis Lake applied to him at all times. Therefore, the impact of the Oasis Desert Sandstorm is non-existent, and nowadays, this even includes the moonstorms too. Although I must say that while this particular perk is highly appropriate in Wyley's case, I still cannot believe that any character with desert goggles can be protected from a violent lunar-based storm. But oh well, moving on. Wyley's suit will also protect him from taking any damage from cacti, spiky bushes here, and even falling minerals dropping from earthquakes. And that's pretty cool, honestly. I cannot say that I've ever seen or even heard of a potential perk like this. Mind the fallen animals though, as they do actually bonk you pretty good. To continue, however, with the suit having kept Wyley alive in the abyss that is space, with it he will be able to withstand any extreme temperatures down here in the continent that come his way. Be it the brutal heat of summer coupled with the literal dwarf stars in his face, or the den of winter as polar lights look to freeze his space balls off, Wyley cannot and will not go above or below 35 and 25 degrees respectively. But what does that mean about wet in his beard? Well, whoever designed these suits was thinking far ahead, as while Wyley can and will get super duper wet still, the only downside will be the suit being drenched to the point of weapons and tools flying out of your hands. Nothing further to Wyley themselves. No sanity penalty, no nothing. even with wet items or clothes on your person or within your inventory. So Wyley is surely sounding quite protected in there, ain't he? Well, maybe not actually. For you see, as amazing as the suit is, it will lead to Wyley being incapable of wearing armor and most clothing. At least it's supposed to, as the latter may have slipped through the cracks in the re-uploaded version here. Still, it's not like he can actually benefit from most of what he can wear anyway for the most part, so technically that con still remains. Especially when said con will be extending to all head armor too, mind you. It's not great, but everything is not lost in space, as while head armor is indeed off the table, hats are not. What's more, some seasonal hats won't be mattering at all to Wyley, but this is still a plus. And don't worry, our space friend can still wear backpacks too at the end of the day. But Beard, if he can't wear armors, how in the world are we not going to be one-shotted by literally everything in this game? Well, because this suit of his has one final trick up its sleeve. Built-in damage reduction. It is a 50% damage reduction to be exact, and that's not nothing. Sure, many armors are still better, but the modders didn't intend for Wyley to be a simple star seeker turned landlubber, so don't think him as OP quite yet. But one last note, as yes, unfortunately Wyley does not have a voice, although it is technically Weber's, and he doesn't have a ghost either. Wyley will spawn with a tiny rocket ship trinket within his inventory, and as far as I can tell, it's more of a fun reference than anything. So either keep it for some safe space travels, or sell it for gold. Have fun. And there you have it, everyone. Wyley the Astronaut. See, I told you there was a starman who had been waiting in the sky, just biding his time, as he knew his eventual arrival would be worthwhile. As I said before, I just enjoyed seeing a character that knew exactly who it was and wanted to do, and did it regardless of how the perks meshed with themselves, or even the game as a whole. He's an astronaut with a cool spacesuit who is simply too used to eating blended foods and practically nothing more beyond that. And that's A-okay. Perhaps given a unique voice, ghost, and maybe one last perk related to the rocket ship or maybe the lunar side of the game nowadays, and he'd be bloody perfect. But thanks to all those who have ever had a hand on Wyley, and thanks for journeying to space with me today, folks. Let the community see it, let the community use it, and let the community blend it all. Bye-bye.